Hello again, YouTube. Just wanted to bring you a couple things here. So, haven't uploaded in a while, but just wanted to go through some troubleshooting steps on a Raspberry Pi Canakit, and then going to do a full swap from the Canakit here, the little plastic case here, over to the little Nintendo, and I will do an unboxing and a build. Just wanted to go over some of the things and reasons why this may have failed. So let's start with why I wanted to change it out to begin with. So let's power it up so you can hear. So as you can hear, the fan is quite noisy, and it just started randomly a couple of days ago. Just for a little backstory, disconnect that. But just for a little backstory, I ended up buying this Canakit back in July of 2021 to build it into a Plex media server, and I set it up, and it's literally been running no problems ever since, 24 hours a day. So just randomly walked in, heard it making some noise, took a look at it, so try to figure out what the noise was coming from, and turns out the fan was actually quite dirty. It's much cleaner now in here than it was before, but basically the dust just had collected on it just because of the way it's designed. It's sitting there, it's blowing air straight down in or sucking it out. Either way, I believe it would be blowing it down into the board. But just the design, having the fan on top kind of just makes it prone to dust floating in the air and falling into it. So what I'm going to do is I could have replaced this fan. The fan was a 4-pack on Amazon for about $10, $9.99 if you have Prime with free shipping. But I know that in another year or two I'm going to run into the same problem, so let's do something a little different. So what I decided was, let's find something with a little bit of a different design. So this design has the fan going in through the top and having the air blow down onto the board from the top. This new design, we'll get to unboxing it here in a moment, but this new design actually has a fan coming out the side right here. So the top will be open with just ventilation, I believe, but the fan blows from the side. So any dust that might fall is going to fall into these vents, but I have a solution for that. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, so what we'll do is we'll start with taking the board out. All right, so like I said, first thing we're going to do is take this board out. I'm just going to use this little Swiss Army knife that I have here, and what we're going to do is we'll just take the power out. Okay, flip it over. Got some little tabs in here, and all we do is just pop it right out. There we go. There's one side, and there's the other side. There we go. Okie dokie. All right, so we now have the little board. What we'll do is we'll just grab it from the grounds there. Try not to touch all the pins. I mean, I've seen everybody touch everything on them and never seen any problems with them, so I'm not going to say that you damage it by touching things, but I just choose to pick it up gently from the grounding ports there. There are the grounding shields around the ports, nevertheless. So what we're going to do is we'll put this off to the side. So this is the Nintendo Raspberry Pi 4 enclosure. I don't think they can say Nintendo, so they call it a Game 4 Pi. So I decided to go this route because this was just under $12 on Amazon for the entire case, and it should come with a fan. And originally, the case that was with this one, like I said, the fan failed after a couple of years because of the design, of course, and because, of course, it's dusty in here as well. But because of the design, it failed. And so spending $10 on 4 fans to get that one back up and running didn't really make sense to me when I can spend $12 and just have a cooler little design, especially the prices are coming down now that the Raspberry Pi 5s are out. So before I break this thing, I'll just, let's take a look and see what's inside. So of course it comes with a manual. This should tell us how to take it apart before I just start ripping on it. How to assemble it. There we go. Easy enough. Where to plug the fan in. Easy enough. And as you can see, it goes to the 5-volt spot, not the 3.3-volt spot, which is on the other side. So yeah, easy enough. Looks like you put some heat sinks on, which we already have, and we just plop it in with some screws. So let's take a look. So it looks like the fan comes pre-mounted. That's cool. So you don't have to worry about direction. Obviously, I believe it blows out. Why would it blow in, right? And then we got a little screwdriver, the screws that they were talking about, and also the heat sinks. I am not going to go through the hassle of ripping these heat sinks off. I might just give that one a little touch there, but otherwise, this is good enough for me. I'm going to leave those heat sinks on. Why rip them off to put these same, similar ones on, actually? Doesn't make sense to do that to me. Yeah, so here we go. And so, interesting. Let's take a look here. One thing that I am noticing, the Canakit actually came with 3 heat sinks. The instructions here actually plop the 4th one in right here. And as you can see, I don't have that one on my board. So I will add that one. Let's move these off to the side here. Okay. Just grab one of these little guys here. Make sure that's nice and clean. Yeah, I should probably get a Q-tip, use some rubbing alcohol, and etc. But, these Raspberry Pis, they're pretty much indestructible. So this is just for fun. And so I have 2 going vertically. I'll do 2 horizontally. Probably could have used my little tweezers to get that perfect on there, but good enough. So there we go. Added that additional heatsink. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll put that in the case. So it essentially just says you drop it in, throw some screws in, hook the fan up, and you are good to go. Oh, that's great. I like that. I like the fact that it's easy enough to drop the board in without pulling the SD card out. I've had some cases in the past where that wasn't quite the case. You have to take the SD card out, and it's just that one extra little tiny hassle. All right, so there we go. So we got, looks like they gave us an extra screw, which is fine. That's awesome. Having extra is always better than not having enough. So again, could have chosen to use tweezers here, but do however you would like. So I'm not going to tighten it fully down until I have all 4 screws in, just so that I can manipulate the board if needed. But what I'll do is I'll put a good few cranks on it, just so that I don't have to go all the way down when I'm finally done and ready to go. Ready to finish it off. So here we go. 3rd screw. Last screw. There we go. Alrighty then. There's one. Might have to go get a little socket and put it on, or a little wrench and put it on the end of this screwdriver. These screws are actually quite hard to go in because they're not pre-drilled, of course. There we go. Just got to use 2 hands. My fingers are weak, that's all. All right, there's that one. And there we go. Perfect. All right, nice and tight. All right, we'll take a look at these instructions again. I know where they go, but let's take a look at it together. So here's the fan. There's the fan model, 3510, in case it ever needs to be replaced. And so it looks like the red and then black on the 2nd and 3rd pin. So we'll go red and then black. There we go. On the 2nd and 3rd pin. Beautiful. So we have that extra screw. We'll save it in the little baggie. And what else do we have to do? Doesn't look like we have to do much. Set that screwdriver off to the side. All right, and then it looks like you basically just clip this in. I was curious to know why this wasn't opening earlier, so I must be doing something wrong, because I believe it is supposed to open, and I just don't want to break it. See, I feel like I've always been told whenever I've used computers or taken anything apart, if it doesn't come apart easily, you're probably doing something wrong. So when I feel like I'm wrenching on this so hard I'm about to break it, I feel like I'm doing something wrong. I feel like it should slide or something more than it's doing. Let's take a look in the mechanism there. Doesn't really show anything. So it looks like it's just really hard. So there we go. So what I did was I just kind of took a look right in there into the mechanism just to see how it's designed. And it is just a little rod. And it looked like there was just a couple little clips up here. Yeah. because you can see them through, one on each side. So little nubs. So it's one of those things where, of course, those are going to be wear out items. The more you open and close this, the easier it will become. But then also the more it'll flop around if you decide to flip it upside down. Like right now, it's going to be open, but after a bunch of opens, maybe by the time you flip it upside down, it might just flop open. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to leave them open anyways because I'm going to be running 2 USBs to it, to my external hard drives that actually hold my Plex media. So that's no problem with me. I don't look at it as a wear item because of the fact that it's not going to be a wear item for me. It's going to just stay open all the time. So there we go. We have the fan now. Going to blow out the side. Pull the air in. Are these open on top? Yes, they are. So as you can see, they are open, but they're very fine. So one thing I'm going to have to keep in mind is keep an eye on the vents. Make sure they don't get clogged. But one of the solutions that I was thinking about, and it's the same thing that my computer uses, is these wire mesh covers that are metallic that kind of stick over the fans and things like that. So I'm going to use basically a piece of screen from like the screen window of the house, and I'm going to cut it to the size here, and I'm probably just going to tape it down, maybe put a little piece of double-sided sticky tape on it here and here, just the inlets, and then I'll keep an eye on those screens, and when those screens become dirty, that's how I'll know that I need to go ahead and clean the screens out. But it should keep the dust from getting inside the case, and that again is what caused my previous fan to fail, is going to be just the amount of dust that it took. But again, this has been running since July 2021 with no problems, 24 hours a day. So another thing that I wanted to mention is, sorry for the video quality or the sound quality if it's bad or poor on your end or from your perspective. This is all being taken on a Flip 5. It's one of the Samsung Flip 5 phones, just hooked to a stand with just some overhead lights. So hopefully the quality is good. Hopefully the sound quality is decent. But if not, that's why. You know, it's from a cell phone, a Flip, in fact. So one of the things that I did want to actually discuss with you as well was why I went with this design and not a little computer design. And that is just simply because I like the aesthetics of the little Nintendo. It's cute. It was only $2 more than buying replacement fans for something that was going to end up failing again. And then I already had this. So this right here is another Raspberry Pi 4. I love the fact that it has the pin layouts on it. Ooh, let's flip that upside down, just make it a little easier for you guys. It's cute that it puts them on there for you. But it has a fan as well. But it has also LEDs. So this is a great little case. It's aluminum, thick plastic sides, looks like a little PC, very cute. Has LED lights, lights up. I can go ahead and start it up for you. But basically, it uses more electricity than the little Nintendo because of the fact that the fan is larger. And the fan is running LEDs, so it's basically always on. And there we go. So as you can see, it's also not extremely quiet because like I said, it has a lot going on. It has the LEDs on this side. It's got a fan with LEDs on this side. And it's great looking aesthetically, but I actually use it for retropi. All of my games that I do play on retropi are all configured on this SD stick with this specifically. So I didn't want to swap them, even though you would think a computer is more of a media server and a video game console is more for video games. I just went with, this was already built and uses more electricity because of all the LEDs. And I was going to replace the fans anyways for $10. So for $12, I get something really cute. And I thought that was just a better option. At the time, I don't believe the Nintendo Pi covers were $12. I believe they were more expensive because, again, this was July of 2021 when I built a lot of these. So this one is another one that came in around the same time, another Raspberry Pi 4 that came in around the same time. So it was a couple years ago. but I just really, I saw this case, I liked the case, and I was like, oh, that looks like a little computer. Let's set up all the games on it, the RetroPi, with all of the systems on a little computer instead of this little system, just because I liked the LEDs and I liked just the look of it. I thought it was a really cool looking thing. So that's all, just a little bit of feedback there is, if you're going to leave it running 24 hours a day like I have for the last 2 years, you might, even though an LED doesn't use a whole lot of electricity, you may want to consider something not so bright, not so flashy, not something that's going to consume so much electricity. Because again, the idea is to run these things 24 hours a day forever. So just, yeah, that was just a little bit of my feedback on why I went with which one and kind of how I feel about both of them based on their designs. I wouldn't replace them for anything else. I'll simply find another design with my Raspberry Pi 5 as soon as I find something else to do with it. But for now, hopefully you guys enjoyed the unboxing and the build of the little Nintendo system, or Game 4 Pi, not Nintendo system. Don't want to get myself in trouble. It's just the Game 4 Pi from Amazon. Again, just under $12.